Hi, Nina here from Nina Quilted That at 107 Quilting, and today what we're going to talk about in our video is foundation paper piecing. I have found that foundation paper piecing for me to be super fun, but for other people it's that very beginning step that they're afraid to get going. It's that first step that's just overwhelming. Tools can really help with that. They're not necessary, but I really like them. And some of the tools that I really like that help me with foundation paper piecing are Caterpillar's light board, which you can kind of see here, and this part. I just have fun with this. This is my new swivel cutting mat. But what really helps with this is that I can see through and cut directly on here, so I'm not making a mistake cutting my fabric, and I don't have to do like yoga to cut all the different crazy angles. I can just swivel this board and cut the pieces that I need to cut and piece and do it correctly. So now what we're going to do is cut piece number 1 and piece number 2 together. I'm gonna hold this so you can see it. This is piece number 1 of a legit kit pattern, and this is a segment, and it's just a segment in a block in a quilt. Piece number 1 is identified as BU, so I'm grabbing fabric BU, and we're gonna cut this piece, and then we're gonna cut piece number 2, and we're gonna sew those together so you can see how we do that. So I like to turn on my board so I can really see what I'm doing, and this is Blueberry, and I'm going to cut piece number 1, which reads right here, BU, piece number 1. I will take my paper, and I'm gonna fold that just to make it easier. That fits across this fabric right here, but you can see my sew line right here, and through the shadow of this board you can see where the fabric ends, so I don't make a mistake. I don't even need a ruler because this is my raw piece, and it's piece number 1, so I'm just cutting this right off the bulk right there, and it's okay that it's too big because we're going to trim that one later. So that's piece number 1. Then we're going to prepare piece number 2, which I did ahead of time. Piece number 2 is YW, and it's the one that's going to fit right here. So now that we have the first 2 pieces of 5, because this segment has 5 pieces, but we have the first 2 pieces that are going to get sewn to our foundation paper right here. We're going to flip this guy around, and I know that piece number 1 is right here, and I'm going to use a glue stick that I have found to be my favorite. This particular glue stick is repositional, and I like that repositionable, and I like that because once it dries, it doesn't like stick to the paper so badly that when it comes time to take the paper off, it's difficult to get off. This one means that when I put this on piece number 1 on the back right here, if I put the fabric incorrectly, I can pick it up and move it without any ripping and tearing, and I find that to be favorable. So sometimes I'll use my light just to make sure that I can see that I'm putting it in the right place. And if you can see that, you can tell that it's completely covering where piece number 1 is. So I haven't made a mistake at all. It's exactly where it needs to be. Then I have to trim because we're going to add piece number 2, which is going to end up here. So I'm using the add a quarter plus ruler, which on this side has a nice flat 1/4 inch mark, and on this side has kind of a point. It comes to a nice beveled edge, and that helps me to fold the paper back and get ready to trim that. Now what I should mention, this is really important, is in a legit kit pattern, we're using solids. So on our fabric, there's no wrong side. If you're using fabric that has a print on one side and it's the wrong side of the fabric on the back, then you need to make sure that you put it on your pattern piece so the pattern is facing down, not looking at you. Right now we're going to trim this piece right over here. I'm going to trim it down to the 1/4 inch. That's my excess waste. Then I'm going to bring it back onto my ironing board, and this is where piece number 2 comes in handy. So I need to make sure this is going to cover that. And I'm going to just lay it here and go, that's exactly how I wanted it. So that's where it needs to go. I'm going to flip this over. Then I'm going to flip my fabric over. And I use another tool, a different kind of glue. This is Acorn glue. It's precision piecing glue. I really like this. On this piece, it's big enough that I could use a pin and it wouldn't be a problem on my sewing machine. But some of the pieces can be as small as my fingernail. And when it's a piece that's this small that I might be sewing to something, it's hard to fit a pin underneath the foot of your sewing machine without going wonky and crooked. So this glue really comes in handy. So I just put a couple little dabs of this glue on the edge of the piece number 1, and now I'm going to attach piece number 2 right along that seam line so the seam lines match up perfectly. It's heat activated, so I take my handy dandy little Oliso iron, a little project iron, and I just heated that up. So now you can see how it's stuck right there? It's not coming off. It's exactly where I want it to be. And now I don't have to use pins on my sewing machine. So here we are at the sewing machine, and we're going to get ready to sew those 2 pieces together onto our foundation paper. This is a 1936 Singer Featherweight, and so what I need to make sure I do is I'm stitching with a very small stitch and an open-toe foot. If you're using a more modern machine, same thing, an open-toed foot so you can see the line that you're going to stitch on. But what you need to do is come to your little computer screen, and I want you to change your stitch length to 1.5 to 1.8, somewhere in that small range. On this machine, there's some numbers here that are a little bit hard to see probably on the camera. I have it down here on 20, but what that means to me is that it's a very small stitch. So just keep that in mind. We want it nice and tight. So this is the piece that we prepped. It's got the little glue right here and the 2 pieces of fabric. We're gonna put that underneath our sewing needle right there. And this nice dark black line, that's our sew line. We're gonna sew right on top of that line. No need for a special 1/4 inch foot and no need to try and measure anything. We're gonna put that foot down. We're gonna drop this needle right on top of that black line right there. And I'm going to just get going. I'm just gonna back that up a little, and I'm gonna be right on top of this little black line. And I'm just gonna keep going as fast as this little machine can go. She's a workhorse. And I go right off the edge. I'm gonna lift up my foot, I'm gonna pull this out from the back, and I'm just gonna trim my threads. So what I've done is I've sewn this right across that line and right here. Now we're gonna go over to our ironing board and we're gonna press that open. So here we are back at the pressing mat. This is a felt mat that I like to press on. And I like to use another tool. This is the Easy Press fabric treatment. And this is the application pen. I've got a friend who made this cute little holder for me. But this is just a little felt pen here, and this liquid goes into here, and it will really help our seams be nice and smooth and flat. It really does help. So this is where we just sewed this line right here. So we're going to turn it over. We're going to take a nice hot iron, and we're going to set that seam, and then we're going to open that, and I like to finger press it just a little bit here. Then I'm going to take my pressing pen, and I'm just going to apply a little bit of that right across the seam there. I'm not stretching it real hard, but I am making sure that I didn't miss a fold and accidentally press like this. This would make me a 1/2 inch off. I don't want that to happen. So I make sure I'm right there, and then I'm going to press on that seam right here until that sets. And now we have a nice flat seam. That's our piece. And then what happens next is we just get ready. That's piece number 2. So we have piece number 1 and piece number 2. And we're going to repeat the exact same process going to piece number 3. So first thing we'll do is fold here, fold it. We'll trim that fabric underneath. We're going to line up fabric KW. That'll be the 3rd one. And we'll do the exact same steps until all 5 pieces on this section is done. So that's it. That's the first 2 pieces. And this is the hurdle that most people have, is how to get started. So there you are again. This is the pattern side, and this is what the finished quilt side looks like. And right now there's 2 pieces of fabric on here, but you just keep going. And then eventually you have this whole segment done. That's it. It's that simple. So like and subscribe, and we'll come up with some more how-tos for you.